by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Translation: how did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas, Bhagavatam, to be sung to him? Purport: Srimad Bhagavatam is stated here as the essence of the Vedas. It is not an imaginary story, as it is sometimes considered by unauthorized men. It is also called Shuka Samhita, or the Vedic hymn spoken by Sri Shukadev Goswami, the great liberated sage. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shmate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyadi Paschate Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Katham va pandave yasya rajarshir munina saha samvada samabhutata yatresha satvati shrutihi. How did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for this great transcendental essence of the Vedas, Bhagavatam, to be sung to him? It says here, Satvati Shrutihi. Satvat, transcendental. But the word Satvat comes from Sat, that which relates to eternality, in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means by following this Shastra, we can become transcendental. Because the Vedas, they contain a lot of information like karma kand, sense enjoyment. That is not Satvat. But Satvati Shrutihi, the transcendental Shruti, essence of the Vedas. This is therefore referring to the Satya, the truth. And the persons who are in pursuance of the truth, they are known as the Satvat personalities. Satvat. And Satvati is pertaining to that, pertaining to the Satya, the supreme truth. So our concern is that the Vedas have so much information, but the concern is to take out the essence of what is needed for us to live. Previously, there were so many aspects of knowledge and dharma people followed. If that could be followed, it's good, but in this age, it's not possible. So the focus is, at least one should not deepen their attachments in this material world, but study the Shastras and get the knowledge to advance towards the supreme destination. So now here, it's mentioned that it's spoken by Shukadev Goswami, Shuka. Shuka Samhita is another name. Some people say it's not factual, it's an imaginary story. Some are saying, so here Prabhupada is saying that's not a fact. It's mentioned here, Satvat, that is, which is pertaining to the absolute truth. And it's also known as Shuka Samhita. Sometimes we see in temples, they depict the different avatars or different pastimes. So they depict Shukadev Goswami as with a parrot head. That is because we hear in the, not here, but in other Puranas, that previously he occupied the body of a parrot, and in that form he heard Bhagavatam. And so, but then in this narration, he didn't have a parrot's head, he's just called Shuka. So, Bhagavatam, known as Satvat Shrutihi, is the transcendental presentation that we can immediately begin to transcend everything. Still, some people are more inclined to read other parts of Vedas, but in this age, it's not possible. We have to transcend it. Okay, so this is text number 7. I'm going to read text number 8 also. Text number 8, next verse. Sagodo hana matram hi griheshu grihamedhinam Avekshate Mahabhagas Tirti Kurvam Stadashramam. Translation: He, Shukadev Goswami, was accustomed to stay at the door of a householder only long enough for a cow to be milked. And he did this just to sanctify the residence. Translation: Shukadev Goswami met Emperor Parikshit and explained the text of Srimad Bhagavatam. He was not accustomed to stay at any householder's residence for more than half an hour at the time of milking the cow at that time. And he would just take alms from the fortunate householder. That was to sanctify the residence by his auspicious presence. Therefore, Shukadev Goswami is an ideal preacher established in the transcendental position. From his activities, those who are in the renounced order of life and dedicated to the mission of preaching the message of Godhead should learn that they have no business with the householders save and except to enlighten them in transcendental knowledge. Such asking for alms from the householder should be for the purpose of sanctifying his home. One who is in the renounced order of life should not be allured by the glamour of householders' worldly possessions and thus become subservient to worldly men. For one who is in the renounced order of life, this is much more dangerous than drinking poison and committing suicide. So in this next verse, it's mentioned that because in the previous verse it said, how did it so happen that King Parikshit met this great sage, making it possible for the transcendental essence of Vedas to be sung to him? Because generally speaking, spiritualists will not associate much with householders, as Prabhupada says, save and except to enlighten them. And we see, for example, in Chaitanya Leela, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused to meet Prataparudra, King Prataparudra. And so for that purpose, here it's being asked by Shonak Rishi that how was it that Shukadev Goswami, who is renounced, who had left the world, is now sitting with a king and speaking with him? Because that is not done. They will not meet worldly people, especially king, the opulent, rich people or governors, because they'll be very opulent. There'll be some form of sense enjoyers. Although they may be cultured and pious, but they'll be sense enjoyers in the Kshatriya's life is like that. The king's life is like that. And I heard the reason is because they have such a pressure to do their work. So they are given that much, some concession for this material enjoyment. Otherwise they'll not do it. They'll not be able to. It's like limit. So then how was it? It's explained in the previous verse. Katham va pandave yasya rajashir munina saha. How is it that Parikshit Maharaj was allowed to, he came to Parikshit Maharaj and spoke with him. He wouldn't normally do that. So Shukadev Goswami was a renunciate, and here it said that because he would only stay in griheshu, it says griheshu griha medhinam, he would stay in the house of a householder only as long as it took to milk a cow. That means just to derive just to take the milk. So why was he there? And we understand that this was a plan of the Lord. The plan, actually, even it was not possible that someone like Parikshit Maharaj could be overcome with illusion such that he'll put a snake on the head of the rishi, after which he got cursed by Shringi, was it? Brahmin boy. That's not possible because he is the grandson of Arjun. He was in the lineage of the Pandavas. At his birth, before his birth, he saw Krishna in the womb. Krishna personally saved him. Such elevated personality, how can he now succumb to anger and out of anger of not getting water from the sage, put the dead snake on him? How is that possible? And how is it possible that his son, because that was a different age, how could he have cursed Parikshit Maharaj? Later they all regretted it. But we can understand that this is the plan of the Lord to bring Srimad Bhagavatam. It was his plan. And like this, Krishna plans situations which may not be happening possibly, they happen just so that the great literature can come. He wants to speak. The same thing that happened in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita was spoken in that situation, and great devotees, Pandavas, were put into difficulty. Normally it wouldn't be like that, but they were not actually in difficulty. A devotee is not in difficulty in any circumstance. Krishna is always, he's taking the burden of whatever for their existence. So then how was it that they were going through that difficulty? The Srimad Bhagavad Gita had to be spoken. Everything had to be set and put in place, and at once Bhagavad Gita was spoken, and many other things that had to happen on the battlefield. Similarly with Srimad Bhagavatam, whatever happened, for it to be spoken, that was unusual. Because Parikshit Maharaj was so powerful, he defied Kali, personality Kali. Now our karma is so low, we don't even know where is personality Kali. We are affected. He actually met the personality and threatened him. You leave my kingdom. That was his level. And Kali listened. Actually it was the time of Kali to come because Krishna left. Kalau nashtata shamesha purana arko dunodi. It said that Krishna swadham upagate dharma jnana adimi saha. When Krishna left, Kali Yuga began. Krishna took dharma, jnana. But Parikshit Maharaj was so powerful, spiritually powerful, that he was empowered. He actually found Kali, personality, saw him and threatened him to get out. And Kali listened. He understood who is this personality. Then how can such a person be bewildered and put a snake on a rishi? There we can understand that it was the plan of the Lord. So Shukadev Shaunak Rishi wants to know that how was it such a personality came to meet Parikshit, that Shukadev Goswami came to meet Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit, this is another incident which is not normal. That renunciate, as Prabhupada says, that one who is in renounced order should not be, is generally has no business with the householder except to get some alms or some milk. But here 7 days they sat together. Shukadev Goswami, who was so elevated, sat 7 days with Parikshit Maharaj. So how is that? He's asking. So we know the reason. Here it will be mentioned later. It was plan of Krishna, and Shukadev Goswami himself was very elevated, but he sat and spoke Bhagavatam, being questioned. As great sages are very compassionate and devotees to speak the message of the Lord in circumstance. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was setting example when he refused to meet King Pratapa Rudra. And when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was pressuring him to meet, he quoted a verse, Nishkinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajon Mukhasya Param Param Jigamishor Bhavasagarasya Sandarshina Vishainam Atha Yoshitam Cha Ha Hanta Hanta Visha Bhakshanta Pya Sadhu. He quoted this verse, which appears in another text of, it comes in Chaitanya, it's quoted there, but it appeared earlier in another writing by one of his associates, another text. So that verse is saying that Nishkinchin Nasya, this is pertaining to people who have nothing to do with this material world, who have detached themselves from this material world. Nishkinchin Asya Bhagavad Bhajon Mukhasya, and who are inclined to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Bhaja Unmukhasya, inclined to serve Bhajan Mukhasya. Param Param Jigamishor Bhavasagarasya, and who are endeavoring to cross over Jigamishor. Param Param Jigamishor Bhavasagarasya, the Bhava Sagar, the ocean of material birth and death, which actually that is pertaining to the Vaitarani river. Between the spiritual and material world, there's a body of water, not water like this water, it's fluid, liquid, that is known as Vaitarani. So it's dividing the material and spiritual world. So those who want to attain the spiritual destination, they have to cross this ocean. It's known as Bhavasagarasya. So personalities who have nothing to do with this material world, detach themselves from it, and aspiring to cross this ocean and inclined to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then it says, Sandarshinam Vishainam Atha Yoshitam Cha. For them to see Sandarshanam. Sandarshana means not just seeing, like we come and see the deity, but seeing it with a material desire. Sandarshanam Vishainam. To see, in other words, even to meet, to contact a materialist or a woman, Yoshitam Cha, it says, Ha Hanta Hanta Visha Bhakshanta Appiya Sadhu. This is more abominable than someone who drinks poison. It's more abominable than drinking poison. It's more destructive. Because what will happen? If you drink poison, you'll die. If you die, you'll take birth again. In the same, according to your consciousness. But somebody who has detached from this world, then if he discusses, if he meets a materialist, what will the materialist discuss? He'll discuss material things. Then the person's consciousness will come down. This is a danger. Consciousness should not come down. Consciousness, if it comes down, then we lost the destination. But death, that is not an issue, because even if we die, but at the consciousness we are in, again we'll take a position at that level of consciousness. Of course, it's always a risk. We don't know what will happen in the next life. But for personalities who are addicted to this material world and sense gratification, and for a materialist to meet and associate with them is very harmful. We do meet them sometimes for preaching, but even a renunciate who is in the beginning of the stage is told not even to meet them. And at a little advanced stage, then we meet in a controlled way for imparting knowledge. In fact, they would meet in a very short time, it says here, like Shukadev Goswami, just to ask alms. And it says here, now it says he met them. He used to meet those householders. It says Mahabhaga, he used to meet those most fortunate householders. Why? He's fortunate, they're giving him money, they're giving him alms. But they are fortunate because it says here, Tirthi Kurvan, because he's transforming their residence into a tirtha, he's sanctifying their place of residence. Generally, the material energy, since they follow the behavior of water, if we pour water somewhere, it will go towards the lower side. So someone who's practicing spirituality, who is detached, free from all, he will sanctify and purify, in other words, take other people's karma. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that preachers of Krishna consciousness movement should go to Mayapur every 2 years and bathe in Ganga and dance in Kirtan, associating with many devotees in a holy place. Why? Because by preaching, we take the sins of people. We take their sins. By seeing people in the face, it's purifying, we're taking the sins. By associating with. And so, in this case, that personalities on the level of Shukadev Goswami, they transform the residence. So it says here the householders are fortunate. Mahabhaga, they are fortunate because they are engaged in that material life, but here Shukadev Goswami appears there, and on the plea or excuse of taking some alms, he's purifying and sometimes may give spiritual instruction, like he is with Parikshit Maharaj, may give spiritual instruction. And then just that small association, that it says that Sarva Shastra Koi Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Lava Matra, for short time, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. It says Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi. All the Shastras say this, that just association with a short time with a sadhu can give all perfection, because it will plant the seed of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada was roaming on the planet surface of the earth. He planted the seed of so many people. They planted the seed of devotion, Bhakti Lata. Just by seeing, hearing from him, associating, they got such a great benefit. Some of them maybe momentarily, even just by seeing him. I remember 2 occasions when I'm hearing. This is what we hear on the memories of Srila Prabhupada. So in the memories, 2 or 3 even I remember that they're saying. One of them was, I can quote names. In Vrindavan, he's there. What is his name now? Prabhupada disciple who speaks Krishna Leela in Vrindavan. Dinabandhu Prabhu. He was narrating that once they were driving with Srila Prabhupada in America, and a police car came and stopped them. And then that policeman is looking at Prabhupada and saying, "Sir, you are glowing. You're shining." They could not see, maybe. He could see a bright glow. So he stopped the car and said, "Sir, you're glowing." Prabhupada said, "Thank you." It's like, he took it just like not to make a big scene. That you're telling someone, "Hey, you're looking good today." Okay. "You're glowing, thank you." But it was unusual for that someone to tell someone like that. It means he saw Prabhupada, he got such a benefit. Another was one disciple, Mataji, and 2, 3 like this said this, that we were looking at him and suddenly we felt that he's seeing through us. He's able to see everything, and he was looking like that. And immediately I felt that he could see my heart, he could see everything. And they were saying like, and then I started to cry and I felt some emotion. And so anyway, Prabhupada didn't encourage that part of his personality. He rather encouraged that we discuss his philosophy and get purified. But sadhu, power of a sadhu is so great, and when he comes and meets a householder, the idea of getting some alms, that is an excuse. As Narad Muni demonstrated in the pastime with Murari, when he told Murari, this pastime of Murari, the hunter. Murari was a hunter who used to shoot arrows and half kill the animal, not fully, and then they'll suffer. If they died, okay. If they didn't die, fine. But they were in between and suffering great pain but not dying. So then Narad Muni, I'm just making it short, Narad Muni came with his associate friend Parvat Muni, and they were saying, "Who is doing this?" Then they met him and said, "What are you doing? Why are you making them suffer? You know that you will suffer like this in the next life." He said, "No, I'm doing it because my father used to do it. You should not do this." Okay. So, and then he gave him gyan. He revealed to him what is the truth of this life, that if you do this, you will suffer. This is not supposed to be the goal of life. We have to realize God, become spiritual life. He said, "Okay, so break your bow." So then how will I get my food? He said, "If you surrender to Krishna, He will provide." So he broke the bow. And so many people brought bhoga, so much that it was too much. So when Narad Muni came back to him, he said, "It's too much. It's enough. I mean, thank you." Thanking his guru, but he's saying that it's a lot of bhoga. It was a lot. So actually a devotee will be provided for. So it's not that they're coming for their sustenance, at least. Well, I don't think, I'm in that mood, but we should have that mood. I'm just speaking from Shastra, that the mood should be that Krishna is providing. So we are only meant to approach householders for their purification and benefit. That should be. Otherwise, it's mentioned in this verse, Visha Bhakshanta Piya Sadhu, that verse we quoted, that it can be very damaging to associate with a worldly person. And why is that? Yeah, because it says here, one who is in the renounced order should not be allured by the glamour of the householder's worldly possessions. You see, oh, this person is very nicely dressed, he has so many possessions, living such a nice life. I should also get that. I should get a TV. We also got a TV actually. And we should get the sofa and whatever and live nicely, be attracted. So actually it's recommended not to too much not to spend time at all in such association. And then what happens? It says here, then they become subservient to the worldly men. Then out of that glamour, they see that as something great, so they come under them. That okay, whatever, we are following them, we are trying to please them so that they can give their alms or donations and facilities and things. So they become subservient. So then Prabhupada, he's paraphrasing this verse that I said. He says here, for one who is in the renounced order of life, this is much more dangerous than drinking poison. It's worse. Consciousness comes down. All that austerity and whatever we practice comes down. And therefore, renunciates don't associate closely with the householder except to benefit them. For their benefit, we'll go and speak. In other words, they give association, they don't take association. There are exceptions. Nityananda Prabhu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but they are very small exceptions. It's a general rule, they would not associate. Shukadeva Goswami, and this is understood even among people, among the society. And therefore, how is it Parikshit Maharaj said 7 days? 7 days he said. So before this, later it will be narrated how the events unfolded, how it came that Parikshit Maharaj sat with Shukadeva Goswami. Actually, he had given up his kingdom. He'd given up everything. And he came, actually, as the picture shows, he would have just been wearing a loin cloth. Langoti, kopen, what they say. So, it will be explained that he gave up everything. Then he came forward and he associated with sadhus just to derive spiritual benefit. So associating with the householder, and it says he also associating Yoshitam, associating with women. And here it's not mentioned about that point, but in this verse, which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that we just quoted, that Bhagavad Bhajon Mukhasya Param Param Jigamishor Bhavasagasya, there Srila Prabhupada mentions that actually the principle of enjoyment in this material world is women. A woman is the principle of enjoyment, because through women, as Prabhupada says, enjoyment for tongue and for genitals, that enjoyment in this world is these two things. And so that happens through women. And so one who wants to detach from the material world, detach from worldly activities, then detachment from women is required. It may not be at its early stage. Maybe someone is a grahastha, but then at later stage it should be more distance. Or if it can be at an earlier stage, someone can do that. Okay, so good. That we see not only in Vedic culture, but for example in Christianity, there is among Orthodox Christians, there is a place called Athos. Athos is for Orthodox Christians. I think it's in Greece. The Orthodox Christians are practicing Christianity in a very different way than, say, Catholics, Protestants. It's very something close to what we do. They have agarbatti, they do meditation, very austere, lot of fasting. So they're monks, they have monks. And on Athos Island, it's like a separate country. That place, they don't allow people to visit. They don't allow, of course, women. They don't allow even female animals. A devotee went there and I read his report. ISKCON devotee went. He reported. They don't allow even female animals there. So they don't have eggs and they don't have milk. As far as I know, they don't have meat. And they have no electronics. So that principle is not only in Vedic, they understand this point, that serious pursuance of spirituality is like that. We find even Vedic culture, even among grahasthas, in proper Vedic culture, they'll not associate. Whole day, they'll not associate. And as I heard from one ISKCON temple president from Tamil Nadu, he was saying, you won't know who's the wife of who, because you'll not see them together. Not like now, you see them. You'll not see them at all. You'll see all the men together, all the women. They're doing the work of that. Because in the house, there'll not just be one couple. There'll be many generations. and couples. So all the women will do the women's work, all the men will do the men's work. And if the men is associating too much with the women, oh, why you're doing that? Even his own wife. But of course, at the time to produce the child, then it is like that. So, that's why this verse is explaining that the ha hanta hanta vishabhikshantapi asada. For such a person who wants to detach himself from the material world, so association with Vishainam or Yoshitam, this is akin to drinking poison. And therefore, Shonakrish was asking, Shukadeva Goswami sat down 7 days with this personality and spoke the absolute truth. But Shukadeva Goswami was not a normal personality. We understand from Puranas that he was among one of the parrots of Srimati Radharani and heard Bhagavatam, then appeared as the son of Vyasadeva, and he was beyond even the Varnas. Avadhut. Avadhut means not practicing any of the Varnas. He would not wear anything. So at that level he was. And he would not see man, woman. He was completely different. So he sat down and he spoke Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Any question?
Sometimes Kshatriyas can break the
Yeah. Yes. Why is it like that? That I mentioned Kshatriyas sometimes the principles, 4 regulatory principles we follow, that they may not follow them according to their Swadharma. It's not so much required. So actually, even if they break, it won't be like how they're breaking now. It won't be like this, uncontrolled. That's also regulated. And I heard in a lecture that this is because their work is so, you can imagine those Kshatriyas were ruling the planet. Now people cannot run a business, run a family. That it was difficult to do. So they would get this much material enjoyment just to, it's something like in the 2nd canto it says that somewhere it says, Prabhupada writes in a purport, that the whole process of family life is so difficult that they have given this idea of sexual enjoyment. Otherwise, no one will do it. It won't be done because it's so difficult. So, in this way, it's to rule the kingdom and to do these things. It's very difficult, very tough. So they were allowed to engage in those things. But even they had to stop at some point. And it's mentioned that even the animals that they ate, they'll have to pay that karma also. As Narad Muni was, because not all the kings were like, they were allowed, but many did not do it. They were not doing it. And those, even Narad Muni, this 4th canto, King Prachinabari, that narration. So there Narad Muni told the king that the animals that you ate, they're going to attack you when you leave your body and you're going. They're waiting to attack you with their sharp horns. So it's not that they'll not have to suffer. It's still wrong. It should be avoided. But they were through a religious path. They were given some facility. Now it's unregulated.
Kshatriyas will enjoy that karma of breaking the rules of society.
They have to pay the karma, but it won't be so bad like now. You see now how people are breaking. They're not following Ved. But Kshatriyas, they'll still advance because even the way how they'll kill, they'll go to the forest, kill animal themselves. Because they had to practice the killing art, so they'll kill. It's not that he'll go buy it or every single day have it. It was in a different way. It was done in a different way.
According to Guru's
I don't know. No, I won't say. Guru's order, it's just like that. It's their system of Swadharma.
Dronacharya was there.
He was their guru for warfare, that's all. He was not a spiritual, he was for warfare.
But even Dronacharya didn't ask them to go hunting. I mean, he's an example that he asked them that they should go for hunting.
It is in Vedas or
What is in Veda?
hunting, Kshatriyas can hunt.
I heard in a lecture of Srila Prabhupada that he said that they were allowed because, you see, he said that Kshatriyas were required to kill. If you know, it's not possible for someone normal to kill. Even in war, they're trained, they have the gun, everything's fine. When the war starts, they cannot kill. They have to, that first second, they have to kill and then they change, then they can do it. So Kshatriya has to practice killing. They have to kill. They administer the punishment of death. They even, to put a knife in someone, not to kill even, just to put it in them. It requires some special kind of mind. So they were allowed to kill. And then with the animal they'll kill, they were allowed to kill, and some of the animals they kill, they were allowed to cook and take. It's not that they'll maintain a slaughterhouse or something like this. It's not like that. So you're asking, is it in Veda? It would be. It would be in detailed explanations. Because it came down, we heard it from Prabhupada. He was explaining that.
Can we see it in the sense that sacrifice of animal for Kali is there in the Shastras, but it will give sinful action, but less because it is according to regulations?
Yeah. First of all, we're doing it for our sense enjoyment. So there'll be some reaction. It's not akarma. But it will be less because you're doing it in a dharmic way. It will lead, you see, if you follow the principles, it leads to elevation if you follow Vedic principles. So they get elevated. By following the Veda, they'll get that benefit of Gyan, Vairagya. Little bit Gyan, Vairagya will come because they are subservient to Vedic principles. But it's a karma, it's not akarma. So it will give a reaction.
Sometimes in Democrats, local village downside, they are cutting animals. Nowadays also it is going on. For that also they will get a less amount of karma or equal.
If they follow everything properly, it will be elevated. Then someone who's just killing, just like that. If they follow the Vedic principles, I don't know which agamas and everything they're following. But as I know, they'll go on Sunday in front of Kali, cut a black goat, and I've seen that they.
Black goat, especially they mention that black goat.
Yeah, somehow it's following something. If they're following, it will elevate, but still they'll have to pay this karma. Mam sa.
But they do that, but plus all the other things also, like those who are sacrificing animals in Kali worship, they'll be having every day also, but also on that day of
Actually, I don't know, is it the same? I don't know how to say this, but same animal they eat 7 days.
It's supposed to be restricted.
Sometimes they kill their own and sometimes they are offering.
Okay, so what I know, as I'll repeat, that if they're following the Vedic principle, they advance. If not, it's sinful, they'll have to suffer a lot. That's it. They're following? Okay. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
I was not previously clear on this